see him? That's a beautiful fish, man. There's that fish right there. Welcome to the show, folks. This is Catfish Kyle. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Catfish Kyle. We catch catfish in the river, and this season we're trying to catch one that weighs at least 40 pounds on the rod and reel. I'm excited. Fishing has not been great. Fishing's been a little bit slow. Today I'm doing a little bit of a different video, but you know we're always going to catch at least one fish in one of my videos, or we try to. So let's catch a fish, and after that I'm going to share with you my top 5 catfish baits. We've got something here, y'all. Piece of cut bait right off the side. It's a catfish. Looks like a flathead. Yes, sir. Got us a flathead. All right. Boy, he's not a big one, but he's a good eater if I was eating them. There he is. He's a good eater, flathead. I'll show him to y'all. Hold him on a piece of cut bait. There we go. Nice little eater flathead off the side of the boat on a piece of cut bait. I like it. I like it a lot. Boy, that was a good eater catfish. Gave it to a good buddy of mine. All right, so let's get to it. My top 5 catfish baits. Now look, this is not the best catfish baits in the world. This may not be your favorite catfish baits. These are my top 5 catfish baits based on my fishing and what I've done here in Middle Georgia and the creeks and in the river. Coming in at number 5, we have chicken liver. Now I know chicken liver, you've got people on one side who think chicken liver is the best bait in the world. You got people on the other side that think chicken liver is a terrible bait. The truth is somewhere there in the middle. Look, you can catch catfish on chicken liver, no doubt about it. I've done it for many years, especially if you want to catch eater size channel catfish. You can do it, buddy. You can load up a boat with chicken liver. The good thing about chicken liver, it's cheap. All you gotta do is go to the grocery store for a couple of bucks. You can get it. Man, catfish smell it. They come to it. It's a quick bait, and so that's a big pro of it. Con of it, doesn't stay on the hook real good. I know there are people who put them in pantyhose. There are people who wrap thread around them. They got all kind of things they do with them. I don't do that. I've just learned to bait them. Try to be careful when you cast your reel. The truth of the matter is, though, if you want to fish with chicken liver, you can catch some catfish. Now, this is my experience. Now, listen to me. Don't get mad at me. Here's the thing. You're not going to catch a lot of real big catfish. You can catch some big catfish on chicken liver. You're not going to catch a lot of real big catfish on chicken liver from my experience. But if you want to catch eater-sized catfish, chicken liver. Yes, sir. Number 5. Number 4, chicken breast. Boneless chicken breast. Now you're going to go online and you're going to find people and they're going to say, hey man, why don't you put Kool-Aid on this stuff? Or hey man, why don't you put garlic on this stuff? Do whatever you want to do. But here's what I've learned. I've done both. I've put it in Kool-Aid. I used it regular. The truth is you can catch catfish just on regular old chicken breast. You don't have to put all that stuff on it. Blue catfish seem to really love it, especially when the weather gets cold. You can even catch some big catfish on chicken breast. Just slice it up into little chunks, put it on your hook. It stays on a lot better than chicken liver. It's easy to get. It's a grocery store bait. All you got to do is go to the grocery store and get it. And like I said, in the wintertime, you can catch some good blues on it. You can catch channel cat on it as well. I've never ever caught a flathead catfish on chicken liver or chicken breast. So I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, me personally, I've never caught a flathead catfish on chicken liver or chicken breast, but I have caught plenty of channel and I have caught plenty of blue. So my number 4 catfish bait is boneless chicken breast. Coming in at number 3, my favorite catfish baits. Number 3, worms, whether it be night crawler, whether it be Louisiana pinks, whether it be wigglers. You just can't hardly beat worms. You can catch
the truth is, any size catfish on worms. I've known people who've caught some big ones. I've caught flathead catfish on worms. I've caught channel catfish on worms. I've caught bullhead catfish on worms. I've caught blue catfish on worms. You can catch anything on a worm. I don't care. If it's out there in the water, man, it will eat a worm. The good thing about worms, you can dig them up in your garden, or you can go to the bait store. You can get them. They're getting kind of high, I'll be honest with you. But they're easy to bait. They stay on your hook good. But again, you can catch a big catfish on a big old night crawler. You can. But you're probably not going to consistently catch big catfish on worms. But if you're going for eaters, my number three bait, if I'm picking what bait I'm using for catfish, my number 3 is worms. Coming in at number 2, this is going to be a little controversial, I know. Number 2 for me is live bait, whether it be a bluegill or whether it be a small bullhead catfish, live bait. Now, some people are going to argue with me and say, oh, live bait should be at number 1. I would say if you're talking about using limb lines, I would say, yeah, live bait at number 1 if you're using limb lines. But if you're fishing with a rod and reel, and that's what this is about, these top 5 is about fishing with a rod and reel, I'm going to have to tell you that number 2 bait for me, not number 1, is live bait. Now, the thing about live bait, not easy to get. You either got to go buy it, and it's pretty expensive if you buy it, or you've got to go catch it. Now, I'm talking about live bait that's in the waters that you fish, something that lives in the water that you fish. When I talk about live bait, that's what I'm talking about there. The good thing about it is when you catch a catfish on live bait, a lot of times it'll be a good, decent-sized catfish. If you're going for catfish 10 pounds and over and you're using live bait, you got a lot better chance at catching that catfish. Like I said, it's kind of expensive, and you get one piece of bait per fish, and so, man, it can get expensive. Here's what I do. I buy a box of worms. I go and catch my bait. I don't go buy them for $1 a piece or so at the bait store because I just can't afford to do that. But coming in at number 2, if you want to catch catfish, especially bigger catfish, live bait that swims in the waters that you fish. Number 1, my number 1 catfish bait. If I'm just out there and I'm saying, hey man, I want to catch me a catfish that weighs over 10 pounds today, my number 1 bait is cut bait. A fish that comes out of the water that I fish in, cut him up, whether it be a head piece, whether it be a body piece, cut bait. There are people who argue with you on this. There are old timers who tell me you can't catch flathead catfish on cut bait. That's just not true. I've catch big flathead catfish on cut bait. I'll catch them not only on cut bait as far as like a fish goes, I catch them even on cut bait from like an eel. If you will go to where the flathead catfish are and drop some cut bait down, you can catch some really big flatheads on cut bait. And I personally have better luck with cut bait than I do with live bait on a rod and reel, not on limb lines, on a rod and reel. I have better luck with cut bait than I do with live bait. And I think that has to do with the scent being released. When you use cut bait, knock some of them scales off of it, man. Make sure the scent's being released into the water. That stuff stays on the hook real good. Also, normally you're gonna get about 3 pieces of bait per fish there. In the cold times, when it's cold, when the water's cold, if you're fishing in the winter, make sure you use a smaller bait. I'm telling you, man, look, you want to catch big catfish, you want to catch catfish 10 pounds and over, the number 1 bait that I've found is cut bait. So let's review that again. Me, Catfish Kyle, if I'm picking my top 5 baits, number 5, chicken liver. Number 4, chicken breast. Number 3, worms. Number 2, live bait that comes from the water I fish in. And number 1, cut bait that comes from the water that I fish in. Now, if you don't agree with me, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. The truth is, even in different parts of the world, in different bodies of water, fish like different things. And hey, my favorite baits don't have to be your favorite baits. But if you're a person who's trying to start catching bigger catfish, maybe you're good at catching smaller catfish, you're using chicken liver, you're using worms, maybe you're even using a chicken breast, which you can catch really big fish on chicken breast, especially blue catfish. But you want to start catching consistently bigger catfish. Look, start using cut bait or live bait. A little more difficult to get, that's a fact. You're probably going to catch less catfish when you do this, but if you are on a journey to challenge yourself and start catching bigger fish, kind of do away with those grocery store baits and start going with something that comes out of that water, that swims around, that they're used to smelling, that they're used to eating. And I hope, and I think you will, start having better luck. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something from it. This is Catfish Kyle. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.